Hello, everybody. I'm Raoul. I do coordinate the community art program. I guess my work over the last 15, 20 years or so has become very collaborative, but I also love to make things and I enjoy the craft of it all. And so recently I've been combining those two joys. Maybe my special skill is getting a lot of people from diverse backgrounds into the same room and helping them make something extraordinary. The story I'll tell tonight starts in Mexico, in Veracruz. I did my master's in Mexico City, but I moved to the country, and this is my neighbor, Don Miguel. And he would paint this head in front of his gate every year. And one year he asked me to do it. And in the process of the conversations we had all day, I began to think more and more about the value of art to ordinary, everyday people in popular culture. And so I started working with an architect, and this was a man that designed buildings with ferro cement, and this allowed him to create sculptural forms that were very organic, and he needed somebody to design doors and windows and create them for that, and bring nature into the houses he was designing. You might see a wasp nest in the upper left-hand corner. That came after the forms, and he was all excited about it because he thought the art was inspiring nature. And nature inspired art at the same time. I was also fortunate to work in a Mayan community with youth in an arts development project. It was really my first experience at seeing how art could be used towards cultural transformation. And it was a project sponsored by UNESCO. We worked with the youth, taught them how to paint and how to sculpt, and based the images on stories they brought back from their grandparents. I left that community. I left Mexico. I came to the United States. And 8 years later, I went back and I did a project for a week that was all collaborative art making. The youth that we had taught now had become artists, and they had families, and we had about 8 days to make 8 large paintings, 12 feet tall, and a large sculptural form as well. And so they then continued the workshops that we had started. I enjoyed working with youth in Milwaukee. I worked in MPS for a while, and I started working on the South Side. The Haggerty Museum called me up one day and said, Raoul, would you run a project about immigration? We have an exhibit about immigration with youth. And I said, can I bring my own youth? And they said yes. And so this is the group I brought. They were from the Latino Arts Strings program. And they repeated the same process I'd done with the Mayan community. They went, got stories from their parents, and we worked with those stories, immigration stories. And those were moving moments, but I realized that I had to do more, and I started to experiment with art towards a political purpose, trying to influence the immigration debate here locally. This was my friend Marta. I interviewed a number of people on the South Side and did woodcuts based in the stories they told me. And sometimes images take off and have a life of their own. And that happened with this particular image. There's an arts group in town called Voces de los Artistas, and they used the image to make a parachute banner, which has traveled around. It's been to the steps of the state capitol, to the U.S. Capitol, and here at City Hall on the eve that Mayor Barrett was trying to deputize Milwaukee police to have immigration agent to collaborate with the immigration department and with ICE, and that was defeated the next day. In this case, this is one of the youth from the families I talked with. She's now just about to graduate here at UWM, and this is a piece that we did together about her immigration story, which is also written at the base of the painting. Ellie, when I met her, was 5 years old. And sometimes I do murals. So this is the last piece I'll show you. This is a mural about the United Migrant Opportunity Services and the story of the migrant workers really in Wisconsin and Latinx activism here. This was a piece I did with Artworks for Milwaukee. It's a community arts organization that partners lead artists with high school interns. And in this case, I also worked with college students who were working with me as undergraduate assistants. We painted the mural on fabric that's used to make parachutes, and then it was adhered to the side of the building. And it's a process that's very common now in mural making. It's very permanent. It's like gluing a sheet of plastic on a wall. Sometimes it even improves the integrity of it. And if you'd like to see the finished piece, you have to go to Transfer Pizza, First and Mitchell Street, and you can enjoy the mural while you have a slice of the best pizza in Milwaukee.